My story starts from the slopes of Mount Elgon. When I was growing up, it's unfortunate I lost my father when I was still very young. And in the African context, when you lose a family member like a father, either a younger brother, your brother to your father steps in to take care of the family. And for me, that man was Samuel Cheuno Ndiema, as we called him, Samweri. Samweri had served in the World War II and returned. And he was always fascinated us with stories about Abyssinia, Burma, and how his journey through the sea to these faraway lands. For us, we were just amazed as young boys, mesmerized by these faraway, distant lands. It was only later in life that I learned that Abyssinia was just in Ethiopia. And, yeah. Later in life, I joined the University of Nairobi and graduated with a degree in literature and archaeology, and later progressed to do my further studies and joined the National Museums of Kenya, starting right as an intern, research, and now at the head of Department of Art Sciences. The Department of Art Sciences mainly deals with documenting and conserving prehistoric heritage, including geological heritage in Kenya. And we coordinate with scientists, geologists, governments, and communities. And in the process of doing that, we travel in faraway lands, now in different places. And we rely on the goodwill of communities, on their knowledge. Some of these places, you might not be able to go with your Google Maps. It's only the will of and the goodwill of community that will take you there. As some of you would think, if you hear the word museum, you think this building with old, many artifacts that are in there. But in the true sense, the museum is a reflection of the stories and the heritage that you carry with you every day. It's our collective memory that we carry with us. And that is actually forms us as a museum. And that is what we document here at the National Museums of Kenya in collaboration with partners such as the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. A few years ago, I was tasked to collaborate with the Commonwealth War Graves Commission in their project that they were launching so that they can be able to provide, as the heritage authority in the country, to provide that leadership in collaboration with the War Graves Commission. I was tasked to be the link person with the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. Little did I know that I got there and it brought me back to my friend and former colleague, Patrick Abungu. So we worked together, and part of our assignments is that we went to Mkongani in Kwale County, where we found these sites that they had been threatened by upgrading maintenance, routine maintenance of a road that was seriously threatening some of these war graves that were there. And for me, it was very fascinating to see these graves now with the history that I learned in high school. And was just fascinated by those causes and causes of World War and what was it, how did it go? And that was very fascinating. So it was not these things were not in far away places. It was actually here with us. I'm seeing it and really ignited a passion. And I reflected about what my younger father, Samweri, as we called him, had told us about these stories. I was reliving that moment. What an excitement. So we talked about the communities and seeing how can we protect this heritage? How can we make it? And I was just fascinated by the passion of the community because they were, yes, let us protect them, whereas we need to maintain the road, but how can we protect them? How can we realign the road? They even took us and showed us to other places that we had never been there. Some of the sites that were equally threatened and were in people's lands. And yes, we need to protect that. It's that passion of community that I saw that we now looked for ways to protect that heritage. Later, we traveled to other faraway places, the Lomogol Valley. I don't know how many of you know where Lomogol Valley is in Kenya. It's in Turkana County, Turkana North, just north of Lokitang, a very important historical town for this country. Why is Lokitang important historically? Because it's where Mzee Jomo Kenyatta was incarcerated, back to Lomogol Valley. Lomogol Valley there's been major skirmishes where the Allied forces had an ambush and they suffered significant casualties. There were a number, and still up to today, of undocumented soldiers. They had not been given respect they deserve, and they are still there. So when we visited those sites, we were just fascinated by the amount of commitment that the communities were showing. They took us, they jumped into their vehicle, we could not fit in our vehicle, jumped into borders, and they took us to these sites. They showed us several places as young boys and young adults going through there. They had seen these stones. They said, yes, we heard that people were buried here. They were very passionate about it. And we came back very excited and looking forward to working with those communities. We went again to Voi, where there was a site that needed to be, the current Voi cemetery needed to be extended because it needed to be extended to be attached to the existing one. And we had to engage the community in conversation why it was important to protect site. We were so happy to see again the kind of commitment. In fact, they took us to an old Mzee Rajab, who was able to tell us as a young boy he had seen all those soldiers, especially the carrier corps, working and carrying all those tools and working. Some of them he remembers being buried, dying and being buried in the area. So that is ignited as our story. Like, why is this important for me? I was just still seeing that passion. But the most important thing is the passion from the community to protect this site, seeing them as part of their own, and also seeing the young generation just seeing what is it, asking the curiosity, as we thought that this was just graves for Wazungus, but we didn't realize that it's actually part of them. So it is that passion that we saw, and we were able to see and carry it on forward. Over time, we have worked now to see how this site can be gazetted and working with those communities, and out of seeing how this sites can be protected. Why are these sites battlefields, places of neglected battlefield and skirmishes? Why are these important to me, you may ask? Or why is it important to you today? These are not only places of battlefield. They are symbols of resilience and reflection among our people. They are places of sacrifice that we can see today that, yes, this was part of us. As I visited the Commonwealth War Graves Commission offices, I was actually surprised to see the names across there. Names for my people, name for Mount Elgon, name for Meru across the country. That it didn't cross to me when I was reading history in high school, that this was actually connected to us. As we approach towards December, you plan for your December safaris and holiday back to your ancestral homes. Think about those places you heard about, some battlefields, or some people were buried here. It was for World War I, World War II. Revisit those places. Give us those coordinates. See, get stories from your relatives. What stories are there? What do they hear? And bring that to us as the National Museums of Kenya. Those old suitcase of your grandfather, your great-grand-uncle is stuck somewhere in a store, somewhere. Open that suitcase. Check in there. Might be documents, medals that can be able to document and give them the honor that they deserve. In that way, we'll be commemorating those who were uncommemorated. I thank you.